the gathering storm, the Sahel wind howled through the darkened sky, carrying with it the whispers of a continent in turmoil. Deep in the heart of the land, hidden beneath the red earth, lay a sanctuary known only to a select few, the citadel of Umoja. It was here, in this underground stronghold, that the future of Africa would be decided. Captain Ibrahim Kabore stood at the center of the war chamber, his arms crossed over his broad chest. His combat suit, crafted from a rare mineral found deep beneath the soil of Burkina-Faso, absorbed the dim light of the holographic map projected before him. The map flickered, showing a vast network of foreign corporations and mercenary groups tightening their grip on Africa's resources. The enemy was relentless, but tonight, the resistance would be reborn. He had called them the Guardians, the Warriors, the Gifted Ones. And now, one by one, they arrived. The wind rises, a sudden gust swirled through the chamber, rustling loose papers and sending a sharp chill across the room. Fanto, a towering figure with a quiet intensity, entered, his robes billowing despite the stillness of the underground lair. His dark skin gleamed under the flickering lights, and his piercing eyes locked onto Kabore. "The air speaks of war," Fanto said, his voice deep and steady. "It carries the cries of those who suffer. I will not let the wind be a witness to oppression without acting." He clenched his fist, and the very air in the room seemed to tighten, the pressure shifting as if the atmosphere itself was under his control. Kabore nodded. "Your power is not just in the wind, Fanto. It's in your will to fight. That's why I called you here." Fanto gave a short nod in return and took his place by Kabore's side. The crawling death, a low, unsettling hum filled the air next. The shadows seemed to move, shifting unnaturally. Then, they parted to reveal Ziga, the bugman. His presence was heralded by the ceaseless buzz of thousands of insects swarming around him, scarabs, hornets, and locusts, all awaiting his command. He moved with an eerie grace, his eyes glinting with something almost mischievous. "You know," Ziga said, a grin stretching across his face, "humans think they rule the earth. But the real masters, the ones who have survived every catastrophe, the insects." With a flick of his wrist, a cloud of beetles rushed forward, forming into the shape of a snarling wolf before dispersing into the air once more. Kabore did not flinch. He had seen Ziga's power before, devastating, precise, and entirely under his control. "They are ready," Ziga continued, tapping his temple. "Just say the word, Captain." Kabore gestured for him to stand beside Fanto. "We will strike when the time is right." The eyes in the sky, then, a sharp whistle echoed through the chamber. From the darkness above, a shadow swooped downward, landing effortlessly on the platform. A man, clad in feathered armor, straightened himself, his golden eyes scanning the room. "Jaha, the birdman." "You move too loudly, Ziga," Jaha said, a slight smirk playing on his lips. "A true hunter watches, waits, and strikes without warning." A large eagle descended from the rafters, perching on Jaha's shoulder. Dozens of smaller birds circled the chamber above him, their sharp eyes gleaming. "I see all," Jaha continued. "No army can move across the land without my knowledge. No enemy can hide from my sight. If they think they are safe in their bunkers, they are mistaken." Kabore exhaled. "We need your eyes, Jaha. The enemy moves in the shadows, and we must always be one step ahead." Jaha only nodded before taking his place next to Ziga. The light among them finally, a soft golden glow filled the room, dispelling the shadows. The warmth of it touched each warrior's skin, soothing their battle-worn souls. Nayara, the healer, walked forward, her hands glowing with pure energy. Where the others were forces of nature, weapons sharpened for battle, she was different, she was life itself. "I know why I'm here," Nayara said gently, her voice a melody in the tense atmosphere. "You fight for Africa's future, and I fight to make sure you live to see it." She reached out, touching Fanto's arm where an old wound lingered. The moment her fingers brushed against it, the skin mended as if it had never been harmed. "There will be war," she continued, looking at them all. "And there will be wounds. I will not let death claim those who stand for justice." Kabore looked at her, his expression softening. Your presence is a reminder that we fight not just to destroy the enemy, but to heal what they have broken. She smiled, taking her place beside the others. The mission begins. Captain Kabore stepped forward, looking at each warrior. They had answered his call. They were the strongest, the bravest, the ones who carried Africa's spirit within them. He turned back to the holographic map, the image flickering between enemy strongholds, occupied lands, and regions suffering under oppression. Our land is being carved apart. Our people are being broken, divided, controlled. He clenched his fist. But today, that ends. The others watched him, their own resolve hardening. Tonight, we make our move. Jaha, you will scout their defenses. Fanto, you will control the winds and carry our message across the continent. Ziga, your army will be our silent strike force. Nayara, you will be there when the fight gets brutal. He took a step closer to them, his voice calm but unwavering. We do not fight for ourselves. We fight for our people. For Africa. The room was silent for a long moment, until Fanto exhaled, the air stirring around him. Then let the wind carry our names into history. Ziga grinned, letting a single hornet crawl onto his finger. Let them fear what they cannot stop. Jaha tilted his head, listening as a falcon screeched from above. The sky is already watching. Nayara clasped her hands together, the glow surrounding her intensifying. And may no warrior fall before his time. Captain Kabore took one last look at his team before turning back to the map. The time for planning was over. The time for battle had begun.